Oh, it's what's going on in the world today. You know, you have to make certain precautions. Stuff it. Welcome back to another episode of Robby Robstar's DIY Auto. That is a lot better. I know there's certain precautions that you need to do these days, and you know, sometimes you just have to double up on protection. But I think the one thing we can learn from this is that we can sort of distance ourselves a little bit, spend time with our families rather than our day-to-day life. First of all, let me start off with apology. I haven't sent a video to you guys in quite some time. You can see the beard has grown. I've been waiting on several parts to come in, like a crank seal sensor gasket and a tool that allows me to release the serpentine belt so that I can get to that sensor. So that's what's today's episode. We're going to go into the front of the Mini. It's actually quite involved that I have to remove the whole front end of the Mini just to get to certain bolts and all that sort of stuff, and also using the new tool to release the serpentine belt tensioner so that I can go in there and remove that belt, because that has to come out. The sump is getting replaced, the sump gasket is getting replaced, and yeah. So this episode, again, sorry that took so long, but here we are. Hopefully you enjoy this one. Give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and leave some comments. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so this is what they call front end service mode. So I had to obviously remove the bumper, the support bracket for the bumper, also those things, I don't know, crash brackets or whatever they're called, move those out of the way. And so now I did put these bolts here as suggested by another video YouTuber. Just put a bolt there so you can actually pull this out without having to dismantle the whole radiator. So they're currently resting on there, so that will give me some more room in between the engine and the radiator so that I can go in there, which I think is about here on the engine where the crankshaft sensor is, and go in there and remove it. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'm hoping that I can get some good angle for you guys. If I can't, sorry. And let's go. All right, so sorry I couldn't get any good shots, but I'll show you. See that white thing there, little connector, and that bolt. That's what I need to remove. I couldn't remove the
the connector. So I should be able to put the O-ring, which I'll show you in just a second, or take a picture or video if I can. But that's what I've already unscrewed it, the bolt all the way through out. And yeah, all right, almost there. Okay, so this is the sensor that I removed. Finally got the connector off. It was a little tricky how the connector worked. That's, you learn. So apparently a common fault is that this O-ring here becomes worn and needs to be completely removed, which I'll show you the replacements. It's just in my pocket. So that's that there. Different color, but apparently it's the same apart from the color itself. This little thing itself, this costs I think $12, and then it came to $30 with including postage and just for this little O-ring. I did find out that you can't use any ordinary O-ring, which I was hoping you could just go to the hardware store and just pick one up, but unfortunately this is a heat and oil resistant O-ring. So let's change that over and put it back in. Make sure it's nice and clean. And I noticed that there was a lot of oil around this sensor. There you have it. That is on. Just grime everywhere. All right, let's put it back in.
15 minutes later.
Okay, so the sensor has now been fixed, or sorry, has the new O-ring. Now we've got to move on to the removal of the serpentine belt, which I have a tool that connects onto this little bolt there. And I'm not too sure if you can see it, but there's a few holes down there. Actually, where's my other torch? Let's see. Well, you can see the spring there, and that's what needs to be, put a bit of tension on there to remove the tension. So remove that, remove the compressor which is underneath, and then we can remove the oil. Now I have to remove the oil through the dipstick because the bolt on the sump is completely rounded. So I've got to go through this way to remove it, and then we can remove the whole sump. So I'm gonna pop you somewhere on top because that's where the action is, and time lapse this. All right, guys, sit back and relax. So the belt is off, the compressor is off. Now we're trying to extract the oil. Alright, so I think that's the majority of the oil out. Unfortunately, can't go underneath to really tell, but let's go underneath and start removing the oil sump. So let's see if I can get a good angle for you guys, eh?
Mm.
Look how curly my hair is.
Mm.
Look how curly my hair is.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
We're eating pizza.
You eating pizza? Yummy.
Just as expected, there was some oil left. More than I thought, actually. And as I was taking all the bolts out, all the bolts were just covered in oil, which tells me that there's got to be a gasket leak. So the gasket is currently still there. And we can see all the lovely stuff inside the engine. I really don't know. Apparently you can tell how well the engine has been maintained just by looking at this. But it just looks like a whole bunch of metal. So let's take off this gasket, take the oil out of the oil pan, and then let's try and get that old sump bolt from out of the old sump. Anyway, let's do it. Okay, I'm back, guys. I'm back on the Mini. It's actually been a few days since I left you. There was some issues with the oil pan. I couldn't get the sump bolt off, and I had to do some grinding. So I'm back. I've got a torque wrench, breaker bar with a torque gauge, and then we could now put the bolts on the correct torque values. So that means tightening them up to a certain value. In this case, the Mini's sump bolts are at 23 foot-pounds. So let's get onto this, and then we can hopefully put this all back together. So let's do it. Injury. Make sure you hold on to the bolts. All right, guys, that is it. The sump gasket is in. All the bolts have been torqued, and also the crank sensor seal O-ring has been replaced. No bolts left over. In fact, in the process I found a couple of bolts missing, so I replaced those with some spare bolts that I had in the extra bolt container. And so that's it. So next episode, oh hang on, that's not supposed to be like that.
Like a wind tunnel. Yeah, for a huge man. Oh, that's lovely. Come on, that's your ring.
Now it's done. So next episode, we'll go ahead and clean it, start painting, and yeah, I reckon hopefully, fingers crossed, that solves all the leaks. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Definitely subscribe. Check out my other videos. Comment down below. Give me a thumbs up, and your comments are most welcome. And in saying that, I'm Robby Robstar. Ciao for now.